Hi and welcome to Used Car Heaven, the program that helps you, the viewer, get behind the wheel of your next car. This week we're looking at cars for first-time buyers. We have three machines that are fun to drive, yet cheap to run and insure. But which one will our viewer choose? And Ian Royal has an alternative set of first-time wheels. And our car doctor Simon Hughes is back with more answers to your car's mechanical problems.
Hi, my name's Pete Ennis. I've just passed my test recently. I'm looking for my first car. I want something fun, that's cheap to insure, and I've got about £3 to spend.
So Pete's after his first car. It has to be reliable, economical and cheap to insure. Tall order, but what we all want. So let's have a look at our first car. Once the #1 choice among first-time car buyers, cheapy poplars could be picked up for pennies, while chaps wearing shell suits and acne dreamed of racing around in skirted XR2s. But as people started to expect more of their hatchbacks, this model became more sophisticated as well. Its new edge styling stood out and it was comfortable and fun to drive. Yes, with the Mark IV, the Ford Fiesta came of age. So what do you think of the Fiesta then?
It's not too bad, a bit cramped. Not sure if I'm too keen on the looks of it, although I do think it's nicer than the new one.
All right, well, just start from the outside then. What do you think when you saw it first, when you walked up to it?
Bit of a girl's car, really. Most people, a lot of girls I know drive Fiestas.
What about the interior? It's got, I think it's different in the sense it's very spacious.
It's quite spacious. You've got a fair bit of room there for
Yeah.
passengers. It's just there's not much room at the back for carrying your mates around, which is quite good.
Which you'll be doing a lot of.
Yeah. Especially now that I've passed my test, you know, they'll all want a lift.
For a little car now, okay, you cannot expect amazing performance from a little car. But me personally, I'm quite impressed by this little thing. It's quite nippy.
It's quite pokey. I think, you know, you put your foot down and it does go. It's got some acceleration to it.
Launched back in the summer of 1976, the new Ford Fiesta was compact, economical, and just what buyers worried by the late 70s fuel crisis needed. Today, 28 years and more than 10 million Fiestas later, the car is still as popular as ever, having been one of the top 3 best-selling cars in Britain for 20 years. What about our car? The Mark IV Fiesta wooed critics at its launch in 1995, representing a major leap in Fiesta development. It was stylish, well-built, economical and reliable, while new suspension design made it comfortable and fun to drive. So why would you want to buy a Ford Fiesta? Well, there's a number of reasons. Firstly, insurance is extremely cheap. A 1.2-litre petrol model is only in Group 2, while the slightly bigger 1.4 is in Group 4. And things get even better for this car. It returns over 40 miles to the gallon. Getting your hands on one shouldn't be a problem either. Because of its bestseller status, prices are low and there's an awful lot to choose from. So what should you be paying for your Fiesta Mark III? Prices start at just over £500 for an early 1.3 Encore model, rising to over £4,000 for the more generously equipped 1.4 16-valve Ghia models from 1999. With around £3,500, we recommend Pete looks for one of the last 1.2 LX cars. So let's find out what he thinks of the Ford Fiesta. So Pete, what did you think of the Ford Fiesta?
It's not a bad car. It's quite nice inside. It's got a bit of a punch, but I just don't feel it's quite me.
Why?
I think it's got a bit too much of a girly image to it, the Ford Fiesta. It's been around, as you said, when we're driving, there's always somebody in a Fiesta holding you up in front of you.
All right, so overall, the only thing you liked about the car was that it's black.
Yeah.
He likes the black colour. That's really it.
Well, I didn't mind the drive.
Okay.
It's just, I don't know, it didn't click.
All right, well, I think you have made your mind up about it, but don't make it because we've got 2 more cars for you to have a look at. So let's have a look at our second car. Not so long ago, style-conscious new drivers wouldn't have been seen dead in a car from this once quirky French manufacturer. But with over 250,000 UK sales, this car became the biggest ever UK hit, extremely popular with young drivers. Many models were offered with a year's free insurance, while sporty VTR and VTS models kept hot hatch fans happy and image high. But what would Pete think of Citroen Saxo? What do you think of the Saxo?
Yeah, I'm a bit more taken with the Saxo than I am with the Fiesta. I prefer the looks. I'm a big fan of the Peugeot 106, and this is very similar styling.
Right.
My friends wouldn't mind it. A lot of them have got 106s and stuff, so.
So it's the all-important friend test.
It certainly is.
You'd have great credibility, I'd say, if you brought
Yeah.
this home.
It's not. It can be a bit of a girl's car sometimes, but then there are the sportier models that you can go for as well.
What's it with this girl's car thing? How do you rate a girl's car?
Mainly small cars.
Anything small is a girl's car.
Yeah, it can be. I like the driving position in this. It's quite low down compared to the Fiesta where you feel quite high.
You look more comfortable here.
Yeah, I do very much like this.
You might not know this, but the Saxo is closely related to the Peugeot 106. The little pug was launched back in 1991, so when the Saxo arrived 5 years later, the oily Peugeot bits underneath were already getting on a bit. But Saxo buyers didn't care. It was fun to drive and cheap to buy, while special offers like a year's free insurance caused queues outside dealerships. Sporty VTS and VTR models rapidly became the hot-hatted choice for cap wearers gaining cult status. But in 2003, the Saxo phenomena came to an end. Despite a 1999 facelift, the car showed its age and was replaced in autumn by the new C2. The C2 has a lot to live up to. Citroen must be praying for a repeat success. Why buy a Saxo? Well, they've been around since 1995, so you'll have a lot of choice. And as far as price goes, well, you should be able to find one to suit your pocket. Out on the road, they're actually quite a lot of fun, even the 1.1 litre version. The popularity of the VTR and VTS means its image is still sky high, so when you bring one of these home to your friends, they're going to be really impressed. Economy-wise, it does around 40 miles to the gallon. And as far as insurance goes, well, the 1.1 litre version is only in Insurance Group 4. So what should you be paying for your Saxo? Prices range from under £1,000 for an early 1.1 petrol to just under £8,000 for a 2002 range-topping 16-valve VTS model. We suggest Pete sticks with a 1.1. It sits in a low insurance bracket, and for his £3,500 he gets a 2000 car with low mileage. So let's find out what he thinks of the Citroen Saxo. Well, Pete, I think I know what puts a smile on your face. The Citroen Saxo, you like it?
Yeah, I do like it. It's very nice. It's good driving position. I felt it was quite low down. It just felt quite a bit more sporty, a bit more fun than the Fiesta. Yeah, it was good fun. It had some power. The handling was good. You could really throw it into the bends, sort of thing, I felt, which I just felt more fun driving it than I did when I was in the Fiesta.
And you like the look of it more?
I like the look. It's a good car. My friends have got similar sort of cars, so they'll all get on with it.
So they'll all be impressed by it?
They certainly would.
All right, well, you've driven the Ford Fiesta already, and now you've been in the Saxo. I have a funny feeling you know which one is actually in the lead at the moment, yeah?
Yeah, it's the Saxo,
all right,
definitely.
Well, don't make up your mind yet, because I've got another car for you to have a look at. But first, it's time to join our car doctor, Mr. Simon Hughes, for all your mechanical problems.
This week we're looking at common clutch problems that vehicles suffer with. Clutch problems fall into four main areas. The first one being total failure, whereby it might mean that you've got to take the gearbox out and replace the whole clutch assembly. The second category after total failure is a slipping clutch, and a slipping clutch is caused mainly by a clutch cable being out of adjustment, because as the clutch wears it needs adjusting, and we can do that quite simply here on this part of the cable with a pair of pliers and a spanner. The third category is clutch drag, whereby you're struggling to maybe engage gear, or it might grind going into reverse. Now that's usually a problem on hydraulic clutches, whereby maybe you've got a hydraulic leak, like clutch fluid leaking maybe from the master cylinder or from the slave cylinder on the gearbox. You could check the level, but basically you're going to need a new hydraulic part for that part of the clutch. The third category of clutch problems is clutch judder, and we get clutch judder because of oil on the clutch, which is usually leaked onto it, maybe from the engine or the gearbox. Clutch judder is also caused by sometimes a faulty engine mounting. Now that would need attending to if that was the case, because your engine could drop out if you don't. But if it's just clutch judder, and that means when you lift your clutch off you're kind of getting a bit of juddering as you take away maybe from a junction, then if you can live with it, I'd suggest you do that, because to repair it you're going to have to take the gearbox and the clutch assembly and everything out anyway. So if you can live with that, fine, you're not going to do any harm. So they're your main sort of four areas of clutch failure really. I'll be back next week with more top tips on how to maintain your car.
Well, so far, Pete has driven the Ford Fiesta and the Citroen Saxo, and I've got one more car for him to have a look at. Plus, Ian Royal will be here with his alternatives. So make sure you join me after the break. And if you've taken a fancy to any one of the cars you've seen so far today, I'll be telling you what to look out for if you do go out and try and buy one of them. We'll see you in a while. Hi, and welcome back to Used Car Heaven. Now, so far, Pete's been out in the Citroen Saxo and the Ford Fiesta. He's got about £3,000 to spend on his first car, so let's see what he thinks of our final car. The bad jokes finally ended when this car was launched back in 2000. Based on the same platform as the latest Volkswagen Polo, this hot hatch was a genuine surprise to rivals and is among the very best in its class in terms of space, quality and comfort. But will Pete have heard all those jokes, or will he give the Skoda Fabia a try? So, what do you think?
It's not bad. It's a pretty smooth drive, this. I'm not too sure about the clutch. You don't get any kind of resistance from it. And most cars that I've driven before, when I've been learning, have had like pretty stiff clutches.
Yeah, but you get used to that.
Yeah.
That's the sort of thing you get used to after a while, and then when you get a stiff clutch, you'll be like, oh God, what's wrong with the clutch?
Start working out your left leg again.
Exactly, and you start walking with a limp.
Yeah. I think Skoda's come a long way from what I used to know them as when I was a kid. And you'd be telling all the Skoda jokes at school.
So, what do you think of the interior of the Skoda?
The interior is pretty nice. It's a bit chunky, but it looks like it's going to last. It looks pretty solid. There's a lot of space in here. You can get lots of people in the back.
And it's a four-door as well.
Yep.
Which the Saxo isn't.
The Saxo isn't. So there's going to be a lot of clambering around. Never too good when you just stop off and you want to drop people off quickly.
The Fabia was unveiled at the Geneva Motor Show in 1999. With the Octavia, it gave us a true idea of what future Skodas would be like under Volkswagen parentage. Based on the Volkswagen Polo platform, the Fabia is available with a number of engines, from 1.2 litre petrol through to the 1.9 turbo diesels. There's even a range-topping VRS, a turbo diesel with hot hatch pace. 0 to 60 comes in under 10 seconds, and you get 55 miles to the gallon. The Fabia is built in a state-of-the-art factory in the Czech Republic at a rate of 50,000 per year. So why would you buy a Skoda Fabia? Well, firstly, let me tell you, forget everything negative you've heard about Skodas. This is a quality product. It's as well built as a Volkswagen Polo, and arguably there's more room inside, and it's a lot more comfortable thanks to its softer suspension. This makes for an excellent first-time buy. The 1.1 litre petrol version gives off about 55 brake horsepower, and it's an Insurance Group 1, while the 1.4 litre is Insurance Group 4, the same as the Fiesta. Basically, Skoda are filling the gap that Volkswagen used to be in, making quality cars at affordable prices. So, what should you be paying for a Skoda Fabia? Prices for second-hand Skoda Fabia started around £3,000 for an early 1.4 Classic, rising to over £9,000 for a 2002 low-mileage 1.9 TDI. We recommend that with his £3,000, Pete looks for one of those Group 4 Insurance 1.4 Classic models. But what does he think of Skoda's Fabia? What do you think of the Skoda Fabia?
It's not bad. It's a nice little car, comfortable inside, spacious, nippy when you need it to go. It certainly does. It's good fun.
It's really well built. Is it what you thought a Skoda would be like to drive?
It's not. You picture Skoda, you picture the bad jokes, just a heap. But this is good. It's well put together. Feels good inside. Good fun.
Now, it's really spacious inside, and you talked about trying to get your friends into the cars when we were out driving the other ones. I don't think you're going to have a problem here with this.
They will, but there's the Skoda badge on the front, which, although they'll fit in, there'll be a lot of Mickey taking with that.
All right, so what you're saying to me is you haven't got a problem with the Skoda badge, but because your friends would have a problem with the Skoda badge means you probably won't go and buy a Skoda, yeah?
Yep.
All right, well, listen, we'll see what happens. You've driven my 3 cars so far. I think you're going to go for the Saxo. But we've got one more car for you to have a look at. So let's join Ian Royal now for his alternative.
This week, the Smart City Coupe is my alternative choice for first-time buyers. This might seem a bit odd, but consider the positives. Petrol consumption. Well, this thing practically runs on air. It sips fuel at a meagre rate, and it's cheap to insure. Plus, its individual looks make it stand out from the rest of your average hatchbacks. Launched here in 2000, the Smart City Coupe was conceived as a joint venture between Swatch, maker of colourful watches, and Mercedes-Benz. At just 2.5 metres long and 1.7 metres wide, its tiny dimensions were intended to revolutionise the streets of Europe's congested cities. Now, the Smart is powered by either a 799cc diesel engine or a 698cc petrol engine. And it's never going to win any races getting away from the traffic lights. The 50 brake horsepower pure model gets to 60 miles an hour in 18 seconds. By that time you will probably be asleep, I suspect. So even the more powerful Smart models that you can buy are hardly going to set the tarmac on fire, but that's not what you buy a Smart for. Now, power isn't everything. The car is actually quite fun to drive. It feels quite nippy when you're just dashing in and out of the traffic. And because of its size, you can get through the little gaps that other cars can't get through. And even on the motorway, cruising at 80 miles an hour, it feels quite sure and stable. It wins again at the fuel pumps. Both diesel and petrol Smarts manage over 60 miles per gallon on the combined cycle. And even the more highly tuned Brabus model manages over 50 miles per gallon. And one of the most important criteria for any first car is insurance costs. And with a low rating of Group 2, it doesn't get much cheaper than insuring a Smart. Just like the cute exterior, the interior won't be to everyone's taste, but it is well equipped. And you'll actually be surprised at how much space there is in here, with plenty of room for two. So long as you don't have much luggage, or friends that is. So travel light, head into town and marvel at how easy it is to find a parking space. So what should you be paying for your Smart City Coupe? Early 2000 base Smart and Pure models are now available from around £3,000. They're left-hand drive, but as the car is so narrow, it doesn't really matter. But if you must drive a right-hand drive car, expect to pay around £4,500 for the first right hookers. As a first car, the Smart City Coupe really would be my choice, but it's back to Jon to see what this week's viewer thinks of it.
So, what did you think of Ian's smart car?
Interesting little car, but not highly practical for what I need it for. Wouldn't be able to get anybody in it. And the fact
You get
that,
one.
well, I can get one.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not really going to pull the women.
And probably if you brought that back home, your friends would laugh you pretty much off the planet.
I would get laughed at, I think.
All right, well, that doesn't look like it's a goer. You've seen the three cars, and you've driven the three cars that I've had for you. You've seen the alternative. Now it's time for Pete to make up his mind and pick which car he's going to go for. All right then, it's time to find out which car Pete is going to choose as his first car. So, Pete, give them to me from 3 to 1, 3 being your least favourite, 1 being the one who's your favourite.
Well, I think 3, it's got to be the Ford Fiesta.
Oh, what a surprise that is.
Just wasn't inspired by it.
Yeah, kind of gathered that.
It's nice, but just doesn't have it for me.
Okay.
Number 2, the Skoda. Very nice car, well built, but it just boils down to that Skoda badge.
Snobbery, absolute snobbery.
100%, yeah.
You just couldn't face your friends. You couldn't do with the slagging, could you?
Couldn't cope with
Because
that.
it's a cracking car.
It is a nice car, but it's got the Skoda badge on it. They're getting rid of the stigma, but it's still there.
Snobbery is a terrible thing in this day and age. So that means, in first place,
It's the Saxo.
why?
It's fun, it's nippy, just really click with it. Like the drive, like the handling. It wouldn't get any insults from my mates. Good, nice car.
I think it was love at first sight, really. The first time, the minute you saw it, it was yours, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
So, do you want to take it for a drive?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, I thought you would. Come on. So why did you go with the Citroen Saxo?
I really like the Saxo. It's a nice, fun little car. It's quite a good seating position. It's a nice drive. Just really clicked with it as soon as I started, as soon as I saw it, really.
I think you fell in love with it more than anything else.
Yeah, I did. I don't know, it's one of those cars, sometimes you get in a car and you're just like, I really like that.
Now, if you have taken a shine to any one of the cars that you've seen today, well, there's a couple of things you should look out for if you do eventually go out to buy it. If serviced properly, the 1.4 Z-Tech engine is capable of mega mileages. However, the 1.3 engines can suffer from worn camshafts. Engines suffering from this will run roughly as though a spark plug is not working. As you might guess, this is a big job to fix. Again, another car that needs tender, loving care at service time. If your Saxo isn't serviced to the book, they can develop noisy tappets, which will require adjustment. Some models had wiring modification to fix faulty airbag warning lights. Check to see if the work has been done. Generally a sound car, but they do suffer with several mechanical problems. If the engine misfires in third gear at about 3,000 revs, then the ignition coil pack is on its way out and will need replacement. The cylinder head gasket commonly fails. You can detect early signs by looking at the water bottle under the bonnet, as this should be clean looking. If the water is murky, it's on its way out. Well, there you have it. Pete didn't go for the Ford Fiesta. He thought it was spacious and nippy, but it just wasn't his cup of tea. I am sickened at the fact that he didn't go for the Skoda just because it has a Skoda badge and he was worried about what his friends may think. But this was his choice, the Citroen Saxo. A lot of young people really like this, and I think he'd drive away in this with a big smile on his face, and he could have put his friends into it, take them out of it and put them back into it all day long. It is a great car and his #1 choice. My choice would have been the Skoda. It is a fantastically well-built machine, a lot of fun to drive, and a cracking car at the end of the day. Well, that's it for Used Car Heaven. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you join us next week when I'll be back with another lucky viewer trying to get behind the wheel of their next car. We'll see you then. Good luck.